Hi, everybody. I wanted to give you just a quick overview of how to use the library search system and the different databases that you can search. For Module 3, you're going to have to start your literature search and literature review for your introduction for your paper. So I just wanted to go through that. I'm sure some of you have done this for other classes and know how to use it just fine. But for those of you who haven't had any experience with using it, I thought it'd be a good idea to just give you a little tutorial on how to use it. So in Module 3, you will see first, the first thing I have here is just a topic on single subject research designs. The papers that you're going to be reviewing for the introduction to the paper will be single subject research. You'll learn a lot about the different research designs that can be used in single subject research in 610. But because you're going to be reading papers this semester that use those designs, I've given you just short, they're like maybe 5-minute videos on each of the different types of designs, just so you can have some familiarity with what they are and how they're set up and how we use those to show experimental control in research studies. So take a few minutes to look those over and watch those so that you have an understanding when you're reading the different research papers that you find. It'll just make it a little bit clearer what they found and what they're doing. Anyway, in topic 1, you have literature reviews. You have an assignment that you'll have to do, very similar to last week's. And then I have this Lit Review library resources. If you click on there, you'll see that our education librarian, Barb Bergman, has put together a lot of great information about how to conduct a literature review and how to find information. So this just gives you an overview of what a literature review is. But if you go here to this searching for information, she has links specifically to the databases that would be most relevant to special education. I'm just going to pick one. You're probably going to want to look at multiple sites, but if we just look at ERIC, now you're going to have to put your star ID and password into the computer if you're not on campus. Oops. If you're on campus, it'll just log you in right away. If you're not on campus, you do have to put your star ID and password in there. But then you come to the advanced search. And then from here, you can search for whatever information you're interested in. You're going to be searching for the check-in, check-out intervention, but I'm going to walk you through with a different intervention so that you'll have the opportunity to practice with check-in, check-out on your own. So I'm going to look up peer tutoring. It's a type of intervention that can be used for a variety of academic, behavioral, and social needs for students at a variety of ages. So if I just type in peer tutoring, and this will look for peer tutoring anywhere. You can narrow it down, but if I just say I just want to look for peer tutoring, and I hit search, and as you'll see, I found over 2,500 references. That is obviously way too many for us to review and make a decision about whether or not we want those particular studies in our paper or in our introduction. So that didn't help, right? So we really need to narrow it down. So now if I say peer tutoring, and I'm really only interested, let's say I'm writing a paper and I'm really only interested in using peer tutoring with academic interventions, not interested in behavioral or social. I just want to know how effective it is for academic issues or concerns for students. Well, now we're down to 157. So as you can see, the more detail you provide to the search engine, the more it's going to narrow the studies that you found. Now, 157 isn't too bad, but I still don't want to go through and read all of the abstracts of 157 papers, and I'm sure you don't either. So how else can we limit? Well, peer tutoring, academic intervention. Then we can also say we only want peer-reviewed journals or peer-reviewed sources of information. That you are 100% going to want to click, because anything that you use for your introduction needs to be peer-reviewed. So you're going to want to have that in there. Make sure that you click peer-reviewed. You don't want to limit to only ERIC documents, because there are documents from other search engines that might be really helpful for you. It also may be helpful to limit the dates so that you're not searching back, 4 or 5 decades. I usually do a 10-year span or so. So I just always, if I'm going to limit the dates, I'll just put in January 1, and then let's say 2010. You can also limit by document type. So I'm going to limit it to only to published journal articles. So you just scroll down, they're alphabetical, find journal articles. I only can read English, so I'm going to limit my findings to only English language papers. And I don't think I need to worry about the educational level or target audience. So now that I have those really specific parameters in place, I'm going to search. Now I have 34 results. That is a lot more manageable for me to review these different articles that we've found and make a decision about whether or not it's appropriate for the topic and for the paper that I am writing. So now that I have these 34, what do I do? Well, now I've got to go in and look at each paper and make a decision about whether I want to include it or not. So if you see here, it says Get Article. I'm going to click on that, check for full text. When I do that, it takes a long time. Here we go. Okay, so I have, now I'm going to look at where I'm getting this from. It's from the Journal of Learning Disabilities. So I'm assuming it's going to be appropriate to my question. I'm going to read the abstract, which is a summary, right? So it's very similar to the summaries that you have been writing. It just summarizes what they did and who they did it with and what their findings were. I'm going to read that summary and make a decision. I may, from the summary, realize, you know what, this is not a paper that I think I would include. It's the wrong population. It's a different type of intervention than I thought it was going to be. Whatever, that abstract can help to eliminate some studies. But if I read the abstract and say, you know what, this sounds like something that's really going to be helpful to me, then I can download the PDF. And now I have the full article where I can take a look and read the entire thing, get the information out of that article to help to use in my introduction for my paper. So for this week, you are going to be reviewing. You can look at ERIC ProQuest, ERIC Abisco, and APA Psych articles. I would look on those 3. You can also use the MAV search. I think that's what it's called. I find that it doesn't limit as well as using those specific databases. you just get a lot of things that aren't necessarily as applicable to what you're searching for. At least that's what happens for me. Maybe you'll have better luck. But I like to go in and use the actual databases. So those 3 databases are probably the best ones to use. You're going to go in. I've given you some criteria that you want to look for when searching for check-in, check-out. So you're going to put in those keywords and try to narrow it down as much as you can until you get to a reasonable number of articles. And then it's just a matter of going through and reading those abstracts, pulling the articles. And what you'll need to turn in at the end of this module, which is you have about 2 weeks, is a reference list of the articles that you found. I want you to make sure that you keep a track of the search words that you used and how you identified those articles. Make sure that you download those articles or keep a link to the articles, because you're going to need these to write your paper throughout the semester. So this is the start of you gathering the information. Don't do all this work and then have to go back and find everything again. Make sure that when I pull an article, I would just save this right away. Download it and save it into a file on my computer so that I have them all in one place so I can go back and read them later. That's how to do a lit search, and part of what you need to do for your assignment for this week. There are written directions as well in the module. If you have any questions about this, please let me know. I'm happy to meet with you and kind of walk you through it, or answer any questions over email. Have a great week, great 2 weeks for this module, and I will talk to you all soon. Thanks.